And we are live. Oh my God. You have the sunglasses. Look at you.
Actually, I don't. This is a cutout from the Surfer Boy
The
pizza
box.
at Walmart that I put over my actual glasses because I just filmed a TikTok reviewing the pizza. But
that
I thought
is
you
a
would like this.
that is amazing. I respect that.
It
I
feels
respect.
real cool right now. Like,
Oh my God.
I feel like this is the
Nice.
coolest I've ever looked.
Same. And for those that I don't know if I can move out of the way, you can see him back there. It was my son on my door.
Dusty Bun!
My dusty bun, my fake son. So everybody out there in the Twitterverse, in the World Wide Web, and whoever may be peeking in, thank you for joining our live stream reaction discussion about Stranger Things season 4. And there's my Hawkins class ring right there. It could be Eddie's, it could be Steve's. Because they're all about this, you know. With me is the lovely and beautiful Z, aka Nowal, and
Hi.
she is representing, I am representing, and we have things to talk about. We have feelings about Stranger Things season 4.
So
We
many.
so many feelings. And before we go any forward, or if you are watching this, please stop if you have not watched season 4 of Stranger Things in full, because we're going to be talking about spoilers and all kinds of things, deaths that happen because it's Stranger Things, and they live to rip your heart out when they introduce a new character just to murder them horribly, which is every season. It's kind of like Scream in that regard, because they're going to give you a celebrity and then they're going to murder them within the first 10 minutes. And that's it. That's how they roll. So if you haven't watched Stranger Things season 4, please stop watching this video at this point, because we're going to talk spoilers and we're going to go deep into our feelings of Stranger Things season 4.
Yes.
So before we continue, I'm going to preface this with, things happened. It's been a while since we went to Hawkins, and season 4 came back, and we had it was this kind of a weirdly split season.
Yes.
I don't know how I feel about it in that regard. It just seemed a little weird. Like,
Yeah, I feel like they definitely could have ended up back in Hawkins altogether in general, but I feel like it could have happened sooner than it did.
it felt like, so the final episode was 2 hours and 24 minutes,
Something like that,
which
yeah.
was basically a movie.
Mhm.
And what was funny about what I found funny, because Sean Astin had starred in the second season, is the fact that Stranger Things season 4 kind of ended like the Fellowship of the Rings, where you had like 15 different endings.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that in the moment.
Yeah, it really did.
I could see that.
Yeah, and you had I think at least half a dozen different endings. You had the ending in the Upside Down, you had all the things that went on with Lucas and Max, you had uh the stuff that happened in the penultimate episode where Papa bit the big one. Maybe he seems to come back from the dead quite a bit.
That is true.
But there was like about a half a dozen different endings with this
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. And really quick for a recap, I guess, since I mean, I'm certain 90% of people watched it already, like beginning to end.
I know
Like,
some people that have the last episode
yeah.
they have to wait and do that one because it's such a
Yeah.
big one.
I know a couple of people because they're like, that is an eternity of binge watching. I'm like, yes. But in case anybody is like, what's happening? I totally forgot. Why are they split up? What are you talking about? Huh? Um, season starts out because, as we know, season 3 ended. Hopper
In Russia.
died, so they thought. So Joyce and the boys, Jonathan and Will and Elle,
Yep.
are all sent to
California.
Lenora, California.
Yeah, for
I don't-
some reason.
Just witness protection because the government was after Elle still again.
So
I guess.
let's put her in public school.
Yeah, like sure. So they're in California. The regular gang is still in Hawkins. This time, Mike, Dustin, and Lucas are all starting high school, so it's their freshman year.
Yep.
Lucas is trying to become part of the popular crowd. He's joined the basketball team, and Mike and Dustin, obviously still giant nerds, openly Lucas, are they have the D&D club, the Hellfire Club, with this season's newest favorite character, Eddie Munson, who is a second or third year senior, maybe.
Maybe we don't know really.
1986, baby. It's gonna be my
Be
year.
my year. And into that mix, they've randomly Jonathan has become a massive pothead just because why not?
And his because he graduated technically already, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Nancy's
And
a year behind, so it's her senior year, and he must have just graduated with
well,
speed.
Nancy is she in? I kind of was confused. I'm like, is she still in high school or is she?
Yeah, I think this would have been her senior year, I think.
Because Steve's already graduated, right?
Yeah, because she was still working on the paper.
Yeah. Well, and I thought she was doing that for college. They didn't really go into detail about how she's like super head of the newspaper.
Yeah, I'm
now
pretty sure that was the high school paper.
Yeah, no, but it was like
she was talking about college acceptance letters and stuff because she
because she and Jonathan were supposed to
go
do
together.
that.
Unless he's total burnout, not going to high school, which
yeah, and so he's friends with another fan favorite character named Argyle,
who works at Surfer Boy Pizza, my dudes. And
yeah, and Argyle is hilarious and apparently has clones across the country at other Surfer Boy pizza shops. So while that's all going on, 11 has gone to public school, and
it does not go well for her.
No, and part of the problem is because of her lack of like regular education, people think that she's a special needs kid and treat her as such, and they ridicule her horribly. And she really, Joyce, you should have just homeschooled her, would have been way better, way less threatening, and a lot less problems would occur, including the pain in the ass bully girl that Angela, who I was like, yeah, beat her down. No.
She earned that skate to the face.
It could have been so much worse. They could have been ice skating,
Exactly. I was like,
yeah. So it went badly for 11, who ends up getting arrested because she almost kills this girl with a skate to the face.
Which I was like, I don't think that's true. I think that girl was exaggerating. She got her nose broken real good.
She got a concussion.
Yeah, almost died.
Yeah,
she was just.
I mean, depending upon how hard you hit the human nose, you can shove bone particles into your brain. Yeah,
that's not the way she did it. You have to hit her straight on in the face.
Either way, she Marsha her nose with a football.
Angela, you dick.
So that happened. Her arrest gets the antenna floating of the government, who realized that she's
Like, oh, she's still
oh,
alive.
she's right there.
And
Um,
and
and
that
me,
was how, because Mike leaves from Hawkins
right,
and goes to California for spring break to see Elle and Will.
Will, who everybody, including the Duffer brothers, forgot it was his birthday.
Yes.
They admitted that, oh yeah, we completely forgot continuity.
Yeah, they said they were gonna go back in and George Lucas that and make his birthday May 2nd instead of March 22nd.
I think it's funnier just to leave it,
I
and
do
it makes more sense that he is such a mopey bitch the whole time.
poor Will,
Hey, we got a
poor
viewer.
sweet baby
Hello.
Will.
Hello.
He's
Say something so we know who you are. Oh, you left. Okay, fine.
cute.
Bye. Um,
Just this poor sweet baby Will. He's just having so many feelings and emotions.
yeah, Will is they never came right out and said that he's gay,
Oh, we did.
but it's obvious to every human being that Will is gay and is in love with Mike,
Yes.
except to Mike, who doesn't get it
Mike
and
is,
is
I mean, Mike is a straight, cisgendered white teenager in the 80s. Of course, he's not going to figure that out.
but
And even if it
Jonathan
were,
did.
well, Jonathan is also Will's brother,
Yeah.
and he knows him better than everybody.
Yeah.
So for
And that was
Will
a
and
beautiful scene, by the way, with
yeah,
Jonathan
oh my god, that
and
made me
Will.
cry. But and then Joyce, there was something she said in an earlier season where like, someday when you fall in love, and he's like, gross, I'm not going to do that, and she's like, okay. Or I think even in the first season when she was telling Hopper about her son and how he's missing, and she's like, alluding to it, like looking back, you're like, oh, maybe she was. She's like, he's a
A
sweet, sensitive
sensitive
boy,
boy.
all
Yeah.
that stuff. Oh,
And I
and she said something else about like how kids teased him and stuff. And I think it was like supposed to be implied then. So if you go back and watch, you're like, oh, there were signs.
well, and I almost thought they were gonna go with him being like a completely I'm not interested in any kind of sex. So,
Mhm.
asexual being, and it's definitely he's in love with Mike, uh
100%.
and that makes it even more awkward as his sister is in
Mhm.
love with Mike. Oh, we got another viewer. Please don't run away. Say hi. Join us.
Please don't.
Um so anyway, that's part of the recap. As we went further into the season, we have Hopper and the Russian plot,
Mhm.
and I honestly thought in that scenario, instead of using the helicopter and doing what they did with the Demogorgon, which granted had an amazing scene where Hopper had Conan's sword, which I'm like, how the did the Conan sword show up in a Russian prison?
Yeah, where
Where
did that come from?
I don't know.
I
It
didn't
just
think
was
about it at
there.
the time, but yeah, I'm like, wait, where where did you find that sword? Because it
It
was just
just was laying
there, but where had it been before then?
I don't
Seriously,
know. I mean, unless did they have like some sort of bizarre ass gladiator pit and they just gave them the prisoners weapons? Was maybe that from that?
they do show that in one of the episodes, like when all of their when they,
Yeah,
the Demogorgon,
yeah.
and but I don't remember there being a sword. There could have been.
Well, I really, for those of us who have seen the Vanity Fair, because I watch these stupid things because I can't help it. Or is it Architectural Digest? Maybe it's Architectural Digest. I can't remember. One of those that goes around. They're kind of like the new cribs on YouTube.
Mhm.
They have David Harbour's house, and he has a giant Masters of the Universe live action movie poster on display in his house.
Big old
He loves this thing, and he loves Frank Langella being Skeletor. I would have pooped my pants. I get that it's Conan, it's the Conan sword. Woo, Conan 80s. I get it. But if that had been He-Man's freaking Grayskull sword, that would have been working awesome. And that would have been amazing for him to have used, and it would have thrilled him to death, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, Russia is not a good place for Hopper, who loses like 50% of his body weight and somehow is ripped. He gets ripped in Russia.
He's essentially like in a work camp. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I
Yeah.
can I can see that. I can see
Yeah.
that happening.
So he gets ripped. He breaks his own leg or ankle to get. There's a horrible scene.
I was
Um,
I think I did have to close my eyes because I'm like, nope, I don't want
it
to.
it was gnarly, and so he befriends, I guess you would say, one of the prison guards named Enzo, who is the faceless man from Game of Thrones.
Isn't his real name Dimitri though? But Enzo was the code name to get to Joyce.
Um, I need. Let me see here. Yeah, Dmitry Enzo Antonov. I have the list pulled up because I can't. There's so many goddamn characters
Right.
this season.
Enzo,
I can't keep track of them.
Enzo's was the restaurant that Joyce and
Right,
Hopps were supposed to have their date at.
right.
And that's how
Dmitry is
she
his.
knew when she got that doll that
Right.
something was. She's like, wait a minute, this
Yeah,
has to be really Hopper.
yeah. So Enzo, we'll just call him Enzo, the faceless man, who is not one, but there's two Game of Thrones stars this season in Stranger Things, and the other is Eddie. Eddie was in Game of Thrones because
Yes.
2/3 of the cast of Stranger Things, I think, are British. It's or at least from another country, because Millie Bobby Brown is Australian.
No,
Um,
no, she's British.
is she British or is she
Yeah.
Australian? I thought she was Australian. Maybe I'm getting it confused because she did that spot on
Yeah.
Mad Max thing going.
Yeah. Dacre Montgomery, who played Billy, was Australian.
Oh, that's it. Okay, so Billy was Australian.
Mm-hmm.
Millie Bobby Brown's British. Max is British in real life. She is.
I don't think she is.
Let,
Charlie Heaton, who is Jonathan, is British. No, she's from
is she
here.
American? Is she
Yeah.
American?
Yeah.
Why did I think I heard her talking with an accent? Okay, I'm wrong. So I believe
She's from Texas.
it's who is it?
Charlie Heaton, who's Jonathan, is British.
Yep.
Joseph Quinn, who is Eddie Munson, is British.
Yep.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Let's
Enzo
see.
is.
He's not Romanian. I was going to say he's Romanian.
Okay. That one, sure. I would give you that because I don't know.
He's actually was born in Dresden.
Oh, okay.
He's a Dresden doll. So, okay, a third of the cast is British.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought Max was British. Oh my god. So anyway, a lot of these character actors are from other countries, which is great. I'm only one here. Hello, Techno. How are you? You are the only one here. But that means you're special.
It's true. It was a very impromptu thing we did.
It was very, very impromptu. But anyway, so you have the Russian subplot, you have the California subplot, you have the Hawkins subplot. So you basically you have three separate things. It really is the Fellowship of the Ring, because you've got three separate stories going on at the same time.
Well, you've got three separate locations initially, and then each location has at least two storylines happening at one time.
Yeah, it's very busy. It is a lot, and then they split it and gave us like about 2 weeks of a break before they did the final 2 episodes, which were really 3 episodes or more. Yeah. And so everything Jamie Gower, British hot British
voice.
Yes. Did you see by the way the video of him recording his Vecna dialogue?
Yes, because you sent it to me.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you watched it. So what's funny is, by the way, Stranger Things Twitterverse, it is hilarious because the Stranger Things writing room are posting all of these factoids from the season, and a lot of them were just so-and-so improvised this dialogue, so-and-so improvised this dialogue. So Stranger Things writing room was basically saying, we didn't really do anything. We let the actors do the work.
Like, we gave them an outline.
Yeah,
They
this is
kind
the
of
script.
filled it. They filled
Yeah.
it. They
Yeah.
filled it in.
But let's hear it for Jamie, aka Vecna, who
AKA one.
yeah, Jamie Campbell Bower, who you have seen in lots of things over the years, has grown into, not only is he a singer and a goddamn great singer,
Okay.
and we knew this because we had seen him in Sweeney Todd and knew he could sing. But he
That's where I know him from. Because my brain immediately goes, he was in Twilight. Guess what? I've never seen that.
he is
But
in Twilight, and
I
he's one of
knew
the badass vampires who is like the ones I was rooting on, because you should, led by Michael Sheehan, and that laugh. So Jamie is just fan freaking tastic as Vecna, and he is Vecna under the prosthetics as well,
yes, it's
which
not
is
CGI. That costume is 99%
yep,
practical effects, which is amazing.
it's just ridiculous. And if you go online, you'll find the interviews with him where he talks about the fact that he was inspired by certain other character actors and horror icons to create this character. And one of those was Christopher Lee as Dracula, which I screamed a little when I heard him say that. And what's even better is the scenes he is in out of the makeup, one, and the scenes that he is in makeup as Vecna, his body language and posture and how he moves and how he looks and how he speaks is the same. And it's this great thing because he's very tall or is very short. She's an itty bitty little girl when she's with him originally,
Yeah, because that was another actress that they superimposed
which was
Millie
great.
Bobby Brown's face on. It took me a minute to. I'm like, that can't, they couldn't have filmed this in
Nope.
season one when she was tiny. It didn't have that like uncanny valley creepy
It
effect
was
that sometimes it
really well
does.
done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really well done.
Um
There were a couple of times where I'm like, oh, now I see it, but it wasn't distracting. Like,
yeah, it was well done how they did it because I think they did some close-ups with her maybe, like, however they edited that, Jesus Christ. But, when he's standing over, 11, he does this thing where he's kinda, like, doing, and he does this to everybody because he's got the height on these kids,
mhm.
and he's doing this thing where he's bowed his head and he's kinda, like, looking at them like this, and it is disturbing. It is, and he does it as Vecna, and it's just this towering, and he's got these eyes, and the eyes remain with Vecna as well. So just fantastic job. Kudos, Jamie. You did a great bad guy.
Mhm.
Um, and it's he also utilized, he even said about Freddy Krueger, I think he talked about that as well. And his, of course, his daddy's Freddy Krueger, who is in like one episode for 5 seconds. But it was great to see Robert Englund in this, and the nods to Nightmare on Elm Street
Everywhere.
everywhere.
From the first episode, which was so good, with Chrissy.
Oh, Chrissy.
Grace Van Dien is number one, beautiful, and she was great. And I love that the Duffer Brothers were like, we kind of regret killing her so fast because she had such great chemistry with
Eddie.
with Eddie, which yes, they did. And because I guess they didn't shoot that scene like right away or something. Like it wasn't the first scene that everybody shot. It came a little bit later, and they're like, "Oh, damn it!"
Yeah, they did a fantastic, she just, the whole design of how Vecna offed his victims was just horrifying.
And
It was,
after the previous 3 seasons, which it's always been horror adjacent, like horror, sci-fi, more so than
oh,
horror.
they went horror this
First
time.
2 seasons, they leaned hard.
Mm.
horror this season, and I loved it. Like right from the jump, you're like, "Oh no!"
Like it just went when the minute she got held up and then that first crack.
Yeah, I was
It's
like,
like,
"Oh!"
oh shit.
I was like, "They're really going here," and
Her eyes just went away. Oh my god.
I was like, What show am I watching again?
Wait, what? Her legs are breaking.
Oh my god! Oh my god!"
I'm looking at it like, get the fuck out.
Just somebody on TikTok, I believe. I don't know if you've heard. I'll try and find it, but it was really funny. They made they took Eddie saying, "Chrissy, wake up, I don't like this," but they made it into like a little alarm clock theme song where it's like music, like really jaunty music set to it. And it's so
Oh,
funny.
that's
It gets
fantastic.
it gets stuck in my head at least once a day since I've seen it. Like I'll just suddenly be sitting there doing nothing, and my brain's like, "Chrissy, wake up! I don't like this. Chrissy, wake up!" And I'm like, "Damn it!" But also,
Like,
yes,
once again, we get the hobbits to Isengard, to Isengard.
I don't like this. Chrissy, wake up! Like the Mentos
Oh,
theme,
that's funny.
really, really funny. But that scene was so good, and then it
Yeah.
just,
Yeah,
yeah,
poor Eddie. So let's just do it. Let's just talk about Eddie Munson. Eddie Munson was played by the amazing Joe Quinn. Another Joe. We got Joe Keery, we got Joe Quinn. It's going to get confusing. The Joes have our hearts.
yeah, yeah,
And Eddie Munson was an icon, as I was showing Nowal previously before we went live. Friend of mine named Stacy went all in with her love of Eddie Munson and got him tattooed on her, and it looks great. And she cosplays as him. She has all the figures, and she can put her kids through college if she ever has kids, because the Funko Pop of Eddie Munson has now jumped to over $200 on eBay. Everybody loves Eddie. And I feel, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, that they did Eddie wrong.
he did him so dirty.
Yeah. They did Eddie really wrong. And I think that's kind of the theme of the season, other than father issues, father figures, family. Also, tragedy is there's no one actually wins, really. And that goes over into the realm of Max as well. And I'll go into that in here in a second, because I'm just like, what the fuck? I have problems with what happened with Max, and not in the reason you think. I was okay with her dying if she died.
Same.
I'm like, but what they've done is stupid.
The more I think about it, the more annoyed I get.
It's a Buffy. They buffied Max, and I'll go into that in a second. But Eddie Munson, just a goddamn amazing character.
Yeah, so
And
Eddie has not had an easy life per se.
no,
He lives with his uncle in a trailer. He has failed high school at least once.
more
Even
like 3 times,
he wasn't sure.
because he's bad at math, because
Yeah.
he keeps failing high school.
And so, he's just a typical metal kid in the 80s, loves D&D. And he kind of, I feel like, is a surrogate figure, not a replacement for Steve, since Steve's not in school with Dustin anymore, but like another
Father figure,
older
because
brother father figure, because now Dustin and Eddie are super, super close, like brothers. But Eddie's got like just his home life is not great. He lives with his uncle, like I said.
right.
And the very first episode, Chrissy dies when she goes to Eddie's trailer to get some drugs
To
because
help her sleep.
yeah, she's having terrible, terrible visions. And she just wants them to stop. So she's like, Eddie, please help. And so she goes to get these drugs, and then Vecna kills her. While in the trailer, and Eddie, being rightfully fucking terrified, runs. He just runs away.
There's nothing he could do. Like, I
Nothing.
could, yeah,
Topic
literally couldn't
exactly
grab
correct.
her, couldn't do anything. At the time, I mean, she was dead already. I
Yeah.
mean, there was
And
really
so
nothing.
this
Uh,
all happens. He runs, and then the whole thing is Chrissy's boyfriend, Jason, who was like star basketball player, that kind of guy. Yes. He
yeah.
he was really pissed that Chrissy was at Eddie's, and he's like, "There's no way she would ever go there.
If
Why would
she
she?"
had a problem, she'd come to me.
And then
Yeah.
he figured, because it's the whole satanic panic thing,
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
blaming D&D and metal music on like for murder and stuff. So Jason is basically starting a witch hunt once he finds out that Chrissy was at Eddie's, and they think that Eddie murdered Chrissy in some kind of weird ritualistic
Yeah.
manner, which it wasn't. And so he's got that, and he's got to hide. That's why he calls himself Eddie the Banished.
Well, there's a lot of levels to this whole
Oh,
storyline. And one of them is Eddie had his father left him, and the only thing he ever really learned from his dad is how to hotwire a car. So you can tell there's like all of that. So I think part of the reason, at least this is what I got implied by this, was that um Eddie, I think he probably actually on purpose failed high school, and wouldn't didn't want to leave this area. That one thing, he was sort of a king there in terms of, I have my
mhm,
group, and these guys look up to me, and I have to take care of my little sheep,
mhm,
and then Dustin comes along, and he like immediately bonds with this kid who also didn't have a dad, doesn't have a father, doesn't have any siblings. This is it. So they immediately bond, not only on that level, but just, he basically sees Dustin as, this is baby me,
mhm.
when I was younger. And so there's all of that there, which just makes everything that happens that much worse.
Layers, layers, layers,
Yeah.
layers.
And then on the other side of it, which is the jerk ass and Lucas, that whole storyline, what's his name again? Adam? Is it
Jason.
Adam? Jason. I don't know where I get Adam from.
Yeah.
Jason the prick. Uh he there's a whole like race issue there too, because he is like your typical blonde, white, Aryan youth kid.
Mhm,
And at one point he tells Lucas, I never should have opened the door for you, to become part of their clique.
mhm.
Um,
And
so
didn't
you
what
can,
did Lucas say? Something like, "I never should have knocked," or
I
something
should have
like
never should have knocked, and
that
that's a
scene.
great scene.
That scene, by the end of the episode, I was literally sitting like this.
Oh
Wow.
yeah, no, oh, and that Jason gets it. Oh my god, I was like,
He sure
when
did.
he went out rough, and I'm like,
He sure
oh
did.
shit.
I was like, I wanted to see more of that though.
Yeah, let me rewind that scene.
More.
Yeah, scream,
Don't cut
bitch.
away so fast. Don't cut away so fast. He was the worst.
Yeah,
He was
please
the
let me
worst.
rewind that. Look, come back,
That
come back.
that scene in particular though really stressed me out as a brown person, because I'm like, oh
Oh
no,
man, it.
oh no, I've been in a situation
Well,
and
they.
it stresses me out
Oh
because
yeah.
I know that feeling, and it is real scary.
Well, and that was one thing I really liked about the Max and Lucas storyline back in season 3.
Mhm.
Was, or season 2 even, I think. Was it 2 that she showed up, or 3? I can't remember.
No.
2?
Two.
Yeah. 2, with that whole storyline, because Billy was a racist, a little prick too. And there was the whole Midwest racism subplot, which I really personally grasped a hold of because of life and my growing up, and who I ended up marrying, and all the issues that caused, because of where I grew up. And that really hit home, and they really handled that pretty accurately. And that just kind of carried over to this. And Jason epitomized that whole high school jock. He flipped to being a psycho way fast. And I love the skewering of the whole the gun store culture that was there as well. I mean, it was like, yeah, you guys, where do you think all the hicks go to hang out and shop? But I really appreciated all of that, and that, yeah, you just wanted Lucas to just beat the hell out of him, and he kind of did. Go Lucas.
He got some punches in.
Yeah.
In.
Go ahead.
I don't remember what I was gonna say. My brain, as soon as my mouth opened, my brain turned off. So that was fun.
But Eddie, let's talk about. God damn it, let's talk about Eddie.
Dropped from a coaster.
So Eddie Munson goes out in a blaze of glory after having a couple of the most iconic moments in the history of the show.
The thing is, they figured out the four or the gates where Vecna can come through the upside down, blah blah blah. 3 people had died, and they're like, oh, the clock, Vecna's clock always chimes 4 times. 4 deaths to open the 4th gate. And so their plan is to use Max as bait, since Vecna has come for her previously, almost got her.
Yep. And another one of the most iconic scenes of
that. It makes me cry every time I look at it. So
same.
It was good. So she's like, I'll be bait, and they're like, all right, well, we'll do this. They come up with this 4-part plan because Nancy is, leading things, and she's very type A, organizing everything. So they've got this plan. And of course, it does not
go well.
They thought it would, because of course it's not going to. The plans never work. So
because plot must happen.
Yeah. So in a previous episode, they had gone into the upside down. Steve got attacked by the demo bats, which I still have questions about. But we'll come back. We'll put a pin in that. So Eddie and Dustin, their part of the big plan is to distract the demo bats long enough for Steve, Nancy, and Robin to get into the Creel house, which is where Vecna's base is, basically. And so they can find him and kill him while he's distracted with Max.
By the way, they telegraphed what was going down. Like, the minute you see Eddie and Dustin doing their fight in the field, and he's telling him, all this stuff about how, you don't ever change, don't ever change. And it's like, oh, God damn it. He's gonna go down there. Oh, we're not heroes. Do we look like heroes? Oh, you motherfucker. And as I'm watching this, I'm like, you pricks. It's coming.
This precious baby boy is playing in a field of wildflowers, planning to kill some supernatural
demon,
other dimensional being. And you're like, oh, I hate this. Please, no. Please.
Yeah. I mean, they telegraph it, and the whole thing about, and then he finds the axe, which we knew that was going to happen because that was in the trailer.
Yeah.
His precious guitar.
And then that's how they get the bats to them, is fucking Eddie Munson on the top of his trailer, just wailing Metallica on his guitar.
By the way, everyone, if you didn't know, Eddie's vest, the back patch,
I just found that out today.
Yep, is actually from the Dio estate. They donated it.
And I guess there were a couple other things too. I guess his wife Wendy sent like some shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
And the patch that they actually used, and there's a pin from something else. I was like, yeah.
He's of course, full on rock.
I had never seen. I was reading an article about it earlier, and I had never seen this phrase before. But they said that Eddie listened to wizard metal, and I'm like, why have I not known that was?
Have you not seen The Gate?
I have. I just didn't realize it was called wizard metal.
Wizard metal.
I assumed it was just metal, and I'm like, wizard metal is my new favorite thing.
I know, it's fantastic.
So I was like, that was was fun and silly, but
So
he's
Eddie,
up there wailing
yep,
on his guitar, which
while the red lightning flashes, and and they
this is for
eventually,
you.
yeah, yeah, Chrissy, this is for you. Aw. So he does Master of Puppets by Metallica, which a lot of people are like, "Oh, fuck Metallica." I'm like, "Oh, it's perfect.
But it was,
Vecna is a master of puppets.
yep. And my
What do you
friend
want?"
was like, because in the trailer you see him playing guitar, but you don't know what song he's playing.
Right.
And my friend was like, okay, but Master of Puppets came out that year, or I think like the
Like, I
ex-
think it was exactly that year.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, if he's not playing Master of Puppets, I'm gonna be really mad. And so I am an unemployed mentally ill insomniac. So of course I watched all of the 4 hours of the final
You
volume.
watched it before I did. Like you were texting me at 4 o'clock in the frickin' morning,
Yeah,
like on
I
point.
as soon as it dropped, I'm like, it is time. I I have no plans tomorrow, so let's do it.
Yep.
And boy, howdy. And
Yeah.
I sent my friend a message the next day. I was like, I've got feelings, but I do know that there is one scene you're really gonna.
But yeah, so Eddie and Dustin do their job and do their job way too well.
Yep, they go
They're
back to the trailer and
yeah,
they're like,
they're hiding in the
everything's fine.
trailer.
And they're gonna go back to regular Hawkins because they've done their part. Now they need to go. And then there is one like there's a vent in the trailer that they
Yeah.
didn't secure.
Yeah.
And Dustin's like, oh shit.
So yeah,
So
so they run to their big hole to come back to Hawkins, and Eddie decides to be a hero
mhm.
and cuts the cord or the sheet so Dustin can't follow him. And he runs off, grabs a bike, and pedals his little feet off to get the bats to follow him.
Mhm.
And he brings with him his spear and his shield, and he kicks ass in the name of Dio, and uh
He
takes down a bunch of them.
Eddie himself was a rainbow in the dark.
Oh, why you say that for?
Actually, I just made myself sad.
Why did you do that? Don't make me cry. You bitch.
I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. It sounds right. And then I'm like, oh, now I hurt my own feelings. But yes, and so he goes down fighting. That was his whole thing throughout the entire season. He thought he was a coward.
Yeah.
He always ran away, even when they were just playing D&D. He always talked about how he would retreat. He would never fight. That was his thing. He ran away.
Yep.
And he called himself again Eddie the Banished because he had to hide because there was a witch hunt because they thought he was a serial killer, basically. Because 3 kids from Hawkins High died, and they
Yeah,
all blamed it on Eddie, which clearly it wasn't. And so he goes out. He is fighting these demo bats.
Yeah.
And then like Steve gets attacked, and when I tell you, was furious. I mean it. I was broken.
Chunks of Steve Harrington were bitten out.
Exactly. I'm like,
How is he not dead?
look, obviously Steve Harrington, because I will fight you with my fists, and my words and my nails. I will come for you,
I
brothers.
I have a
You
fork.
horrible little goblins. I will fight you. Done. But he's doing the thing. He's getting attacked, and we all know since he's only been around for season 4 that it was.
He's the Barb.
He's the Barb. He's the Bob. He's the Alexi.
Yep.
I was like, I figured they wouldn't do it though, because it's a pattern that everybody expects at this point. And they're like, it's just like, why M. Night? Don't take a page from his book. We don't need it. We don't need it.
I mean, did they think that everybody was going to like if it was I mean, they had a bunch of different people. I guess oh gosh, I'm blanking out. I'm horrible with names. What's his name? Kung Fu guy. Kung Fu guy They can't kill him because he's recurring character
Oh,
now.
Murray.
Murray.
Okay, but I do enjoy Murray. He
I
is
do too,
pretty hilarious.
but
But
again, he's like a prime victim bait as well.
here's the thing. So they kill Eddie, and it was heartbreaking because by this point Dustin figured out what he was doing, and he made his way back. Like he
Also,
made a
Eddie
way.
was screaming
Yeah,
because he
he
was being
parkoured.
eaten by bats.
He wasn't that close to the trailer, I don't think. So I don't know if he heard him or was just like, I'm not
No,
letting
he
him
saw the
fight.
swarm. He
He's like,
saw
I'm
the
not letting him
swarm.
fight these by himself.
Yeah,
So Dustin parkours his way back
and he.
into the portal, into the upside down.
By the way, remember Dustin doesn't have fully formed bones
It's
here,
collarbones,
so
yeah.
when he fell,
He broke his leg or his ankle or something.
yeah, and he
He's
probably
limping
fucked
at the end
himself
of
up here too.
the episode. You can see him limping
Yeah.
really hard, and so he doesn't care. That's his homie. That's his boy. Makes his way over to, because at this point also there's another storyline in the Russian prison with Hopper and Joyce and everybody trying to defeat the Demogorgons and the what did they call it? The particles.
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
particles, and keep in mind, we get a little nod back to Bob here, which is
Mhm.
horrible too, because Joyce is having PTSD since one man she loved got eaten by one of these things, and now Hopper's getting ready to go, YOLO, I'm gonna go
So
get
so
eaten by one too.
their plan is to kill the Demogorgons because the particles
Are
are
part of Vecna.
inside, and those are inside of the Demogorgons. So
Yep.
it's kind of like two. They don't know anything about Vecna though. They just know
Right.
that the particles and the Demogorgons are one at this point, and the particles are linked to the Upside Down. So they're like, if we take these out,
It'll weaken it.
it will at least give the kids in Hawkins a minute or more to get done what they need to get done. So while they're doing that, this fight in the Upside Down is happening,
So
and
by
they kill all the Demogorgons
yeah.
right after Eddie dies.
So one thing I wanted to interject there is I thought the whole time that they were going to use the gate at that Russian facility because they
To get back to
to
Hawkins.
get back to Hawkins. I thought they were going to do that,
Yeah.
and they didn't.
They did not.
Instead, they have the crazy guy with the helicopter named after his ex-girlfriend.
Ah, yes. I forget his name.
Yuri.
Yuri.
Yeah.
I did not like him.
No one liked Yuri.
But so, like, so they did their plan. I'm like, could you not have done it a little faster?
Yeah, because that would have killed all the fucking bats.
And it did.
Yeah.
But too late.
Yeah.
And so then there's a heartbreaking moment where Eddie is dying and he is in Dustin is cradling him. And and he's just talking about how, it's going to be his year, and
this was going to be my year.
Like, I didn't run away this time. And I'm like, stop it.
And his blood's coming out of his mouth. Yeah. And
his
Joseph Quinn
words were, I love you, man.
Which was improvised.
And I was like, that was the most beautiful thing. And that's, I guess, why Dustin's reaction was kind of like that, because he wasn't expecting him to say that. And he's like, I love you too. And I was just like,
fucking Broadway performer, man. Gaten Maserati, I gotta just my fake son. He's my fake son. And he broke my heart like 15 times in that episode. Just because he knows how to cry really good.
He's another one of those actors that as soon as they start crying on screen, I immediately break down and start crying. It's him for sure. Holly Marie Combs.
It's random.
I can't help it. Like, because I love Charmed. And so when I was growing up, anytime she would cry on Charmed, which happened a lot, Charmed writers, leave Piper alone. But every time she cries, I cry. Allison Hannigan is another one. She's a real good crier.
Simon Pegg.
No,
Simon Pegg knows how to cry.
that
When
one
he
doesn't that one
when
doesn't get me as not as hard as those three. Like those three, if they cry, I will sob.
Simon Pegg in Shaun of the Dead, where his mom is bitten and
Yeah.
he's holding her.
Yeah.
And I actually asked Simon Pegg about this. I said, You're a goddamn amazing crier. And he goes, well, she looked like my mom.
Oh.
Like she looks like my mother in real life, and it was not hard to feel that when she's dying in my arms. And I'm like, oh my god, why did you tell me that?
See, that one, I mean, that one got me like a little teary eyed, but it didn't make me cry. I'm talking about like when I see an actor cry, I
uh
can sob. Those are the
David
top ones.
Tennant. David Tennant
Um,
can get me. He's just got it's the eyes, the big
I don't know. It
eyes.
depends on the scene that he's crying in, and I mean, like with those three, anytime they cry, I don't care what's happening in the scene itself, sad or not. If they're crying, I'm crying. Like with
Yeah.
Tennant and Peg, if they're crying, maybe, but it's dependent. With those three though, I
Yeah.
will always every
Gayton just it's this whole maternal thing
he's a
with,
sweet
especially with that character. You know, he that is my kid. If I had a child, Dustin would be my kid. That just is it. And he it just destroyed me this
it
season.
was it was
And
and that scene in particular, just number one, because it was unnecessary. They didn't need to kill
yeah,
Eddie. Just in
no, they
general,
didn't.
they didn't need to kill him. Um, both all of the acting in that moment, just fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was a beautifully done scene, but it was unnecessary and didn't need.
And in the end, his sacrifice was sort of in vain. Like
Yeah,
it didn't do any good.
wasn't worth
And
anything, and that also pissed me off. Um,
and the same thing with Max. The whole subplot with Max.
I was waiting to get there on its own separate thing because
Oh,
I have so many feelings about that. But Eddie's at the end of the episode, they're all like, because there's a quote unquote earthquake that rocks Hawkins. It's
yeah.
not Vecna and the upside down thing, but
Hawkins becomes Silent Hill.
kind of part of it. So they're going to the high school where it's now a makeshift like shelter, and the Hawkins gang. Everybody's been reunited at this point. Some of the team goes off to the gym so they can make donations and then volunteer, to make sandwiches and whatever. And Dustin, there's a board with pictures of missing people on it after the earthquake, and you see Dustin's uncle, or I'm sorry, Eddie's uncle,
Eddie's.
go up to the board, and there is a missing poster of Eddie with a pentagram drawn on it, and just like garbage because they still think Eddie killed all these people. And he takes it down, puts up a fresh flyer, and Dustin tells him, like, he goes over. They sit on a cot and
God, that scene.
talk, and Dustin is just telling Eddie's uncle how Eddie died a hero. He's like, I was with him when he died.
And he gives him his guitar pick necklace.
Yeah. And it's like, rocked my world in the fact that it was so
that goes back to the other thing I had a problem with the whole Eddie thing, which is Dustin wasn't the only one who knew Eddie. Everybody did. And no one seemed to give two shits that Eddie died.
Yeah.
Mind you, this was only 2 days later.
Yeah, and everybody seemed real fucking chipper, and even Dustin
at first.
until
and
he went into Eddie's uncle, and then he's like, oh, right, my dad died.
And you would think like Dustin's got his Steve hair back, which because he wasn't wearing the hat at that point, but it that he seems so happy, like, oh, there's Mike again. Oh, Mike, it's like,
Mike, L, my friends.
You just lost, like, this guy died horribly trying to save all of you.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you guys so perky and happy?
Right?
This
be happy to see that your friends that you haven't seen are alive, but I mean, don't be too fucking happy about it.
Yeah, It just seemed bizarre. And then
Yeah.
I didn't like how that was written,
No.
on top of the fact that it was kind of it was a stupid death that made no
Was
sense and
it did
was pointless.
it was very useless. And then, so going back, episode 4, Dear Billy, the very incredible scene, with Max getting Vecna'd and Kate Bush, and it's incredible. Again, like I said, she was using herself as bait in the final episode, and she figures that if she can, think of a happy memory,
She
uh,
can hide.
she can hide from Vecna. I love you, but that's not how that fucking works because you're in your own mind and he's already in there.
Yep.
So he can find you, and he did. But the thing that really annoyed me was Elle.
So yeah, I'm not even gonna say we should even bother with the whole L subplot. L does what L does, which is,
Yeah.
oh, I'm tortured and I have superpowers. Oh, me and Papa.
Yeah, it was like it felt like they shoehorned that plot in to find a way to get her involved with Vecna, like, and the Hawkins crew.
Yeah.
And I was like, it really didn't need to happen because what happens is, uh, so while Max is using herself as bait to get Vecna to come for her, so Steve and Robin and Nancy can kill him.
Nancy.
He takes she takes her Walkman with her Kate Bush tape, which is what brings her out of being Vecna'd. And so, she's in her little trance, and then Elle has piggybacked into her mind to
Fight
help
Vecna.
fight Vecna. But the thing is, he's real strong and doesn't really
And
battle
Max is in Hawkins, so
yeah,
like even stronger.
the battle between Vecna and Elle was number one, pointless and dumb. Number two, he so while this is going on, while Max, Elle, and Vecna are all in Max's brain, um, douchebag Jason finds
Max and
everybody at
Lucas.
the house because small town. Everybody's like something weird's happening at the
Well,
Creole house.
they saw Erica,
Yeah,
his
and
sister.
they saw her with the flashlight doing her
Yeah.
signal, like, something weird is happening because they know Erica and Lucas are related, and she played D&D, and they're like, he knows Eddie, so he knows what's up." So they go. Jason is being a dick, as is his only character
With
trait.
his big gun.
Yeah, he's got a gun. He's threatening Lucas. He's like, "Wake her up right now, or I will kill you." Just all this garbage. He's like, "Where's Eddie?" He's like, "I don't fucking know." And so they're fighting. It's very tense, very scary. And then, of course, Max gets Vecna'd. She's like up in the air, and her
And
arm
she's
breaks.
there for a while. Like
Yeah.
she's floating. And then
Oh, and
the
Jason also knocks over the table and steps on her Walkman, so she can't get
use
brought
it.
out of it. And so you're like, "Oh no, shit's gonna happen." And so what's like, one of her legs breaks, her arms are broken, and
And
then
she goes blind. Her fucking eyes are bleeding.
her eyes didn't get sucked in like the other three because Mac or Elle stopped.
Well,
At,
yeah, it stops mid whatever, and then
because
Elle and
Nancy
she's
and
like
everybody,
laying there like this, and
yeah,
Lucas is like, "Call an ambulance." It's like,
yeah, because Nancy and
ambulance.
everybody stopped Vecna temporarily. It was a very Halloween moment. They kind of like, force him out of the window with the gun,
Yeah, yeah.
out of a window basically. And when they go outside and leave the house where he should be, he is not. So very Michael Myers there, which appreciated. But then back in the house, it kind of goes between just seeing Lucas holding Max, freaking out, to seeing Elle in the void stand or like crouching next to Lucas and crying over Max because, she's dying.
Yeah, and I fucked up and I didn't save her.
Yeah.
And
And so she's crying, she's freaking out. You can tell that she is blind and she is like broken like a rag doll.
she's like, I can't feel anything. I can't feel anything.
I can't feel anything. I don't want to die. I'm not ready to die. And Matt or Lucas is like, "Erica, help!" Which was again another
It probably, yeah. Thank you, Stranger Things writers,
like,
for not doing work.
call an ambulance. And he really did some fucking great work in that scene.
Yeah, he did.
He was amazing. And so then you assume that Max is dead because she dies in Lucas's arms. And then fucking Elle does her something.
This is where I say they Buffy'd her, because it literally is the Buffy plot point. That's how we got Faith, because Buffy died for like a couple of minutes
when she drowned.
Yeah, in the prom episode.
Yeah, season 1, which that one though was great. That was fine.
No, that made sense.
It was
this is stupid,
like,
because she dies.
Dumb.
And let's bring Max back to a broken back, broken armed, broken leg, not able to see, goddamn body, because that's how she'd want to live, right?
And at the end of the episode, you find out that you don't know that she's still alive yet. You just assume she's dead. And then everybody is back in Hawkins, because when this happened, they were in Nevada. Like, she remotely went into.
They were like in Nevada or something.
Jonathan, Will, Mike, Elle, and Argyle were all in Nevada or somewhere, while everybody else is back in Hawkins. So finally they get back to Hawkins, and then they find out that Max is in the hospital in a coma.
With casts on both her legs and both her arms, and most likely blind, because again, her eyes were orphan Annied.
They were real milky. They were in the process of getting sucked out of her face.
Blood.
And so Elle asks Lucas how long the doctors think she'll be in a coma, and he's like, or how long until she wakes up, and the doctors don't know. It could be this many times, it could be any day, it could be never. I'm like, oh god, why?
Well, and then she does the thing where she goes into her brain and she's like looking around like, Max, and she's not here. It's like, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, because she's probably brain dead.
Because you never should have done what you did. Nobody would want to come back into that, So, or she's stuck in the upside down. So, of course, so at this point, apparently nothing was worth doing, because as the episode ends, we see the
dumbest thing.
Yeah, the upside down is leaking into Hawkins, and everyone's standing going.
Well, my favorite part is when they all walked in, like Will has a little twinge on the back of his neck, which
I wanted a tentacle.
I honestly gave no fucks if there were a tentacle. I can't care about that when the next scene I see is everybody almost frolicking kind of in a field of wild flowers, and the stuff is and then they see like the smoldering portion of
Silent Hill.
and then they see like half of the field.
It's slowly creeping out and
I'm just
digging
like,
over.
Oh my god. And that was the end. I'm like,
so
I'm so mad.
So Stranger Things season 4 is a mixed bag, is what we're coming down with here.
I still say up until the very last episode, it was the best. It's the best season of all of them.
It is. And
episode felt, and guys, they had 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years to write, film, and get this out. And from what I know, somebody said that they were still making edits until the day they had to put it
up on
servers.
Netflix, yeah.
On the first, they were still working on it. So I'm like, Jesus Christ. What?
Yeah. No, it's the last episode is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, like, again, there were some incredible moments, but one of those incredible moments was effectively
negated.
Eddie's death was pointless. There's no need for him to have died.
And it's not like we're fangirling out over Eddie here, although, I mean, come on, we love him.
Yes. But also, that's irrelevant just as a writer.
Yeah, it just
As
was
writers, it
stupid.
served no purpose. There were so many other ways that and also they had been talking up these last 2 episodes, and they were like, "There's gonna be carnage, there's gonna be death, there's gonna be your favorite characters are in jeopardy." There were no stakes.
No, you kept alive your entire core crew.
Exactly, like, at the end of the day, you lied. There were
Yeah.
the
Y
stakes had been built up to be very high, and rightfully so, with Vecna and everything. Like, yeah, high stakes, but they essentially faded away. There were no stakes. There was nothing. Nothing was in.
it would have
No one was
been
really in danger,
it
aside from Eddie, which is just bullshit.
yeah, I mean, you build up a character, you know you're gonna kill him. That was your whole plan. Why don't you twist it up? Why don't you surprise us and instead, I don't know, kill Nancy?
Kill one of the main, like,
Kill one of the main people that would have, like, an emotional impact to a
well,
ton of them.
the fact that, and it could have been done if they had actually let Max die in that scene. Um, and there didn't need to there was no need for any other death aside from Max. Like, that could have been its own thing all on its own. Like, they didn't need to do it. They
Yeah,
didn't need to kill Eddie. They didn't need to let Max die on a technicality.
but not really.
Only to bring her, no, she died. She was technically dead.
Yeah,
It was
but
a
they
technicality.
didn't really
She
kill
didn't
her, but now she's kinda in a coma
she
like
was
Duke and fucking
she
G.I.
was
Joe the
dead.
movie.
She was dead for 1 minute. That is a technicality, and I don't appreciate it. I'm like,
And
"No,
that technicality is what they're, using the MacGuffin to bring in the Upside Down, because technically she died, so now he got his 4th
well, that
victim.
gate is that," and again, then that means the gate is open somewhere. Like, if Max
Right.
was technically dead, then that would have opened a gate.
I think that, if they wanted to kill somebody and make it effective
They should
and
have killed
surprise the shit out of everyone,
they
they
should have
coulda
killed
killed
him.
Erica.
They
They
could have
coulda killed Erica.
killed Nancy. They could have killed Erica. They could have killed Jonathan.
Yeah,
They could have
or
killed
Will.
Martin.
They could have killed Will.
See, Will is, I feel like, an ace in the hole. Like, they're not gonna kill Will.
They're
Which
gonna use him either to be a vessel for Vecna, or they're gonna have him be their anti-Vecna because he's already
yeah,
been in the Upside Down. They're setting that up.
because he's tethered to Vecna in the Upside Down. He always has been since the very first season. That is not. Why did they not utilize that in this season until
Or,
the very last minute of the show?
they could have, if really surprised everybody with a twist ending where everybody lived, everybody's happy, they thought everybody got away, and then all of a sudden, Mike's sister floats up in the air and gets
The
killed.
little one,
The
Holly.
little girl, and no one thought about it, no one suspected, because no one thinks about his sister. Bet everybody forgot Mike's got a little sister,
Yep, Holly.
and, we could have had her, in the background, you could have seen her maybe having, like, headaches or something, or, "Hey, honey, are you okay?" with the mom.
I honestly feel like she's only there because she had a light bright. There's really no reason for Holly to exist because she doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's why I'm saying, right there, your
yeah,
4th victim, you
I
could
mean
have done it, and it would have been a shocking thing.
I thought that was gonna happen, not with the getting Vecna, but with something happening, because in the trailer for volume 2, you see Mrs. Wheeler and Holly, like, screaming, and I'm like, "Oh, something's going on." No,
And their
nothing
useless
happened.
father.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened, and I'm mad, and I'm
I
annoyed.
yeah, I really don't understand why they just didn't do it that way. I mean, make it a surprise. It's really just lazy writing, and you're falling into your own trope.
Exactly, which, ugh, I'm just so annoyed. I'm so
So
annoyed.
it could have been it went out, you know, it came in like a hurricane and went out like a puff of air on
Mhm,
that final. And so
yeah,
now we have to wait
2
2
years.
years, and
Mhm.
they're going to do because literally everybody is going to be like 50 by the time they get around to it.
The kids are already like, let's see.
Mike looks like he's 30.
He was not.
He like sprouted. I'm like, holy crap, when did that happen?
That is how teenagers work.
Well, Dustin's 20.
Dayton and Caleb are both 20. Noah is 17. Millie is 18. Sadie is 20. And
Steve's 30.
Finn is, I want to say, 19 or 20.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Steve is 30, I think.
Joe Carey, by the way, guys. By the way, DJO is his DJ handle, and he released a single that you can go listen to on YouTube.
Yeah, but
they're
the next and final season, they are doing a jump forward in time, and I am 99% certain it's going to be the kids graduating from high school. And because now that, especially now that they pulled the Buffy move with Max, there's going to be some shit that goes down at graduation.
I think it ought to be college at this point.
It won't be.
It won't be though, but
it's going to be high school, because
I want Eddie to come back as like Iron Maiden Eddie.
It wouldn't be the 80s anymore if they were in college. It would be like 1990, and I don't think they're going to jump that far forward. It'd be like it'd be the early 90s, and I don't think they're going to do it.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, we'll see how they play it. It probably will be high school. It's probably going to be 89.
It feels like it goes like 3 years, because the first one was in 83.
Right.
And then this one's in 86.
89. It'll be right before the end of it'll be the end of the millennium, or
it's going to be
a decade. Yeah.
My prediction is it's going to be senior year.
Yeah. And I honestly, I really, this is my way of bringing Eddie back. Is he died in the Upside Down, and Dustin can become a necromancer. He will fricking figure it out and necromancer Eddie into Eddie from Iron Maiden to make him a battle against Vecna. We'll bring his ass back from the Upside Down. He'll be like an undead Munson and have control of the bats. I think that would be fucking awesome. And you could play Meatloaf and have Bat Out of Hell ringing out while that is going down.
But now they're on my shit list, and so nothing cool will happen like that. But there are endless ways for them to bring Eddie back, like countless. And he is just, he got left there. Did he really die?
We didn't see a body other than him laying there. I mean, he's in the Upside Down.
He is in the Upside Down. So I don't know. I don't fucking know. I do know that I'm annoyed, and I'm real mad. And I'm real annoyed.
And Stacy, man, she got inked for life with this guy, and you did her dirty.
He's so good. He's so good.
You did her dirty.
Just, I'm annoyed. I can't say it enough. I can't. Yep. I'm sad and I'm annoyed, and I'm annoyed.
I was hoping that they wouldn't do it, like just because it's every freaking season, man. It just is the same thing, and it's
one. Here's Barb. She's great. We love Barb, and then she dies, and then there's season 2. There's Bob. He's a goober, but we love him because he's Sean Astin.
We almost made it out then, but no, we're gonna beat him. There.
I wasn't too upset that they killed Bob, because Hopper and Joyce have always been endgame for me, so. I was okay. Alexi, oh, that was pointless. He didn't really do much of anything, so him dying was...
But people loved him. People loved Alexi.
You didn't have to kill him. He could have just literally disappeared, and it would have been fine.
I guess we're lucky that we didn't lose our Faceless guy, because Faceless Man made it, which everyone didn't think would happen.
I wouldn't... Great, he was a fun character, but I also would not have cared if he had.
We didn't have as much invested as we did with Eddie.
No, because he meant a lot. He was a
well, why do you have to make my poor baby boy suffer? Why did you make my Dustin cry? Yeah. My son, my fake son cried. You broke him.
Yeah, it was just there were a lot of choices that were made this episode, just the final episode. A lot of choices Not a lot of them were good.
I was waiting for them to kill freaking what's his name? The legend, Paul Reiser. I was waiting for them to
Oh,
kill Paul
oh,
fucking Reiser in his little cardigan sweater. I'm like, you're gonna kill him, you bastard!
and
You're gonna kill him
I'm
off.
glad they didn't. I did like him. I did like his character. But that was not the last episode. That was the one before when he
But I was waiting. I was waiting. I'm like, they're gonna fucking kill him.
got.
They're gonna shoot him. They're
And
gonna do it.
I tell you that episode 8 was going to be all about Papa dying.
Yep.
I
Well, I mean,
told
it
you.
could have been Hopper. That's
It wasn't.
it wasn't, but it
It
could have been.
was. There was no way that they were going to kill Hopper after
Oh, I didn't think they'd
trying
kill
to
him.
kill him. But yeah, I was like, no, it's definitely going to be about Brenner because
Yeah,
it was Papa Prime for L.
Prime Papa.
Papa Prime was Brenner. And so
I'm surprised they didn't bring Robert Englund back into that too. By the way,
I'm not.
he's still sitting in his cell, maybe dead now because of the earthquake.
I'm not surprised because they got that was really like a one episode.
It was a one and done, but to me that seems like a waste. You've got Robert Englund.
No, I mean that episode was really good and he was great for what they needed from him. It was just a backstory about Vecna. There wasn't any need for him to come back again.
I know, but I'm a Freddy girl and I wanted more Robert Englund.
Same, but it's still unnecessary, like a lot of things that happen.
They wasted so much goddamn time with Elle and the same shit over and over again.
It was just like I get that she's technically the reason for the show, but also I feel like there's a lot less Elle and a lot less Will, even though they were like the main reason for the show when it began.
Yeah,
which I'm not mad at, but I'm like,
it's like again, it's the Buffy thing. The Buffy thing is the not core characters are more interesting than your core characters are. Like Elle is
Elle is the Buffy, and everybody else is the Scoobies.
Yep, exactly. And
well, I feel like
Steve is the Xander.
Steve is the Spike when he is the babysitter for everybody.
This is true. That is a better metaphor there. Yep.
You're welcome.
Yep.
I spent a lot of time watching Buffy.
Same. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, guys.
It seemed like there was so much waste.
Yeah.
In terms of character and just time. Like you didn't have to have a 2 hour and 20-minute finale here.
No, there was a ton of stuff that didn't need to be. I'm not saying it didn't need to be in there, but it didn't need to be as long as it was the scene in the gun shop. Like that didn't need to be that long.
I tell you though, the other iconic I laughed and like freaking screech laughed was Eddie wearing the goddamn Michael Myers mask. I'm like, oh, that mask! That's one of my favorite parts of second season.
When he put on Max's mask to hide, that was really good.
She's like looking at it like, well, kinda. He puts it on like, oh my god, Michael Myers is leading this kid.
I love how it didn't fit quite right because
the hair was just
because she wore that mask when in like season 2 when they went.
He was tiny,
and she was like, she's like 12, which was
oh my god, I was dying. I that made me laugh so hard.
Kind of I'm like, yeah, that was good. That was really good.
That was great.
They can't go back now to just strictly sci-fi and not the horror element. Like they can't not lean into it next season.
They've created Vecna, who is just horrifying, scary. Yeah, he's a monster, and you've got this hellscape that is the Upside Down, and now you've got it leaking. Like you've got, like I said, this whole Silent Hill thing now, where the city is unlivable, and it's tainted that land. So where are they going to go to school? I mean, you can't live there. So where are they moving to? Are they going to come back for a final showdown? That's what I kept thinking was going to happen, is how this show's going to end, is they're going to
Well,
come back like
at that
it.
point, as we see, the school is still standing. Most of Hawkins is still standing, but there is a large part of it that is not.
And there's a hell pit
Yep.
coming up. There's a
Yep.
hell mouth
Yep.
literally coming up into your middle of your city.
Yep.
So
I
I that's why I keep leaning towards it's going to be like college, but it may be high school
Nope.
because of
I'm
the
telling you.
3-year thing.
Nope.
You're
They're
right on that.
not gonna do it.
Um but and it would make sense because it's the last gasp of the 80s. Uh
Exactly.
that they're all just going to come back for one final showdown with Vecna and to stop it from spreading. But
Yeah.
after 3 years, how much of that shit's going to be spread? Like, what, half the country's going to go? Is this going to be like, apocalypto kind of
Right.
thing where you Mad Max, literally?
Here's the thing. I could guess and probably be right because they're being very predictable now with
Yeah,
all the tropes. But like I said, I just have big Buffy vibes for the graduation episode. Like
yeah,
I feel it in my bones. Like
yeah.
I feel it that that's going to be a big catalyst. And I feel like there's probably going to be some kind of way where they are able to manage whatever, contain
The government will be there with their thing.
that's going on and keep it from spreading until like
Yeah,
there's gonna be a dormancy because of course there is. And then something will awaken it because it always does.
Vecna's gotten stronger again.
And then here we go. And
Yeah,
then season 5 because they're like, it's been 3 years, everything's been mostly okay. We've got a giant flaming pit in
have
downtown,
you seen our pit?
but don't worry about it. It's fine. There's nothing in there until there is.
Yeah.
So
Well, we didn't see where he went. He picked himself up after being shot and burned. It's
mhm.
okay.
Or
So
they're gonna
he, I
build
want,
something over that part of town or
yeah, that's why I keep thinking that he's gonna like, I could totally see him going into Will because that's a gateway for him to get
the
in
thing
is
the thing
through that.
is they should have done that this season.
They should have ended it with that.
Because the main storyline with the California gang, which is Will, Mike, Argyle, Elle, and Jonathan, it didn't really serve a whole lot of
I
purpose.
didn't do anything
There
other
wasn't
than
a lot of they didn't do a lot. They were driving 90% of their storyline, and it was and then I mean the main part of the storyline that I enjoyed on that side was Will coming to terms with the fact that his best friend does not love him like he loves him.
yeah, and that
It,
though literally could have been done in one episode.
yeah, it didn't need to be like the whole thing, like the whole season. Like it was I having it being touched on a couple times was fine, but it didn't need to be like the driving force of that part of the
Yeah.
storyline. And I was like, okay, but why is Will not gone?
Freaking yeah, why isn't
Is
he
he not
having any kind of visions or
why
anything
is
like
he not
that?
a villain yet? Like, and I get the fact that when he's in Hawkins, he can feel it, but you could have
You
done
d
so much with that. Like you
the end of
have
this
you
the
have
end of the
that
first
whole
season.
lore right there waiting for you to do something, but you could have done it. You could have done it at any time.
The end of the first season, he
Now,
had black shit coming out of his
yeah,
nose.
the gross little slugs.
Yeah. What the hell happened with that?
Yeah, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, they haven't done anything with it. Not really, because he gets the goosebumps, and then he gets like the feeling in the back of his neck. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But oh, and then when he was having the weird visions where he was suddenly in the upside down in season 2,
But
but
but again, where did that go?
it's like, okay, so you've been building this idea into the story since season 1. Well, season 2 really was when it popped off hard. You've been building this. And you're like, hey, remember how Will is tethered to the Upside Down? Remember how Will is tethered to the Upside Down? Yeah, we do. So do something about it. Do something with
They
it.
did nothing.
Do something with it.
Yeah. It just was a lot. Again, it went off with a bang and went out with a whimper. It really did. It was a lot of missed opportunity,
Oh yeah.
and I loved all the Russia stuff. It was really interesting. I like that play with Hopper, because David Harbour is a great character
Oh yeah.
actor who can do a lot with a little.
Hmm.
And you've got I'm just gonna call him Faceless Man, but you've got him. Great actor, great character. That was all fantastic.
Yeah, they did
But
great.
but like I would say 50% of your season was a waste of opportunity and time.
Hmm. Here's again where I throw it out there. Hey, Duffer Brothers, let me write season 5.
Yes,
Hey,
her.
hey, 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 Duffer Brothers, let me help you write season 5. Because guess what? Number one, I've already got really great ideas. Number two, I have been a paranormal investigator for over 10 years and could really throw some stuff at you that would be really, really cool and really fucking fun. Number three, giant horror nerd. So that's a hat trick. Let me write for
Oh,
you.
hello, Nikki Cunningham.
Hi.
Nikki Cunningham says, "Y'all ready for a mind melting theory that is probably true? Hit
Yeah.
us with it, Nikki. What is your theory? We would love to know." But again, yeah, I will help as well. Giant horror nerd
I am
writer. I will help you. Let us help you.
I pointed it out already on this very show. I'm unemployed. Uh and
She's got the time.
I've got nothing but time on my hands. So Stranger Things 5.
Stranger Things 5 ends at the beginning of Stranger Things 1.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting. I saw another theory that was pretty cool. Was that the it's actually
A
it's
D&D game?
an
I
actual
saw that one. That was a good one.
like same what was it, Saint Elsewhere? How that ended, where it was
Oh
like inside
god,
the mind of a child
no.
playing with a snow globe.
No.
And
No.
they
No
said they're like the very end scene of Stranger Things is going to be the somebody there. It's going to be around a table of people playing D&D. Maybe that's how Hopper's sword appeared.
Truth. I like that idea. Ever wondered why the Demogorgon from season 1 has powers and the others don't?
I have not.
He was the bigger Demogorgon. It's
Yeah,
true.
maybe it's like a baby Yoda thing where they get powers as they age.
Well, remember my
Right?
little guy here, Dart? Remember
For a second,
Dart?
I thought you were holding a pickle, and I got very
No,
confused.
this is not a pickle.
But now I can what part of it. I just saw the back end. I'm like, why are you
This
showing me a pickle?
this is Dart. Everybody remember Dart? Poor Dustin's little pet that tried to eat him. Who
Mhm.
kind of remembered him too, by the way.
You did.
I like Nikki's idea though of I could totally see that it'd be a time loop and it goes back to the beginning. I can see them doing that. I can see them
Mhm.
totally doing that. Maybe the Demogorgon is Will.
Maybe.
Yeah. And the ability to open closed gates remind you of someone. I think that could be very cool to have the Demogorgon end up being Will after, and he comes back and kind of starts everything, including his own capture, maybe trying to fix himself but can't. So yeah,
Honestly, though, at this point, after the end of season 4, I
yeah.
could I could see them doing not that and definitely doing the Saint Elsewhere ending,
Oh
which
God. See
I
something
will
that makes sense. Let's not do that.
Walker Brothers, I will fight you in the streets along with my former nemesis, Anna Kendrick. The three of you, I will fight you all with my hands. I'll fight you in the
Anna Kendrick,
I
you
will
had to bring that up.
fight you in the streets of Hawkins right
Oh my
here
God.
right in the flaming streets of Hawkins. I will fight you all. I will fight
The
you.
Demogorgon. Oh, this is different. Here we go. The Demogorgon from season 1 is 11, sent back to kick off the events on season 1, forever containing the Upside Down to 3 years in Indiana. And there's your St. Elsewhere theory that it's a time
Right.
loop.
That was not my theory. My theory is that it wasn't actually real.
That's I like the D&D idea. I honestly do.
It's the boys playing a game of D&D.
Yeah, I like that.
It's just all the kids playing D&D, and every time a character dies, their character dies in the game.
That means Eddie can come back.
Mm-hmm. That's not how I want him to come back, though. And again, I will fight the Duffer Brothers.
I want him to come back like Nemesis Enforcer and fucking G.I. Joe with bat wings and shit. So he can be metal for life. I mean, come on.
Like everybody has a theory on how to bring Eddie back, but hopefully
don't put it out there because they'll just
I'm not going to, because they need to pay me. They need to pay me. I'm not
don't do anything you're good at for free.
I'm not saying you have to pay me a lot, but let me come right for you, Duffer Brothers.
Let me in there.
Duffer Brothers, let me write season 5 challenge.
Nikki, you can't break our dreams. I know you're saying that he's gone, but not in our hearts. We will keep him alive. But anyway, guys, I want to.
He may be gone, but he shouldn't be.
He should not be gone. He should not be gone. I can't believe you did that rainbow in the dark thing, by the way. Fuck you for that. Fuck you for that line. God dang it.
Eddie Munson himself is a rainbow in the dark.
How dare you? So anyway, guys, I want to thank everyone that watched. Nikki, thank you for joining us and giving us your theories. I like those. Here's hoping that the Duffer Brothers can pull off a miracle and actually pull off bringing Eddie back in a way that is, he deserves. We'll
can, because I'm right here.
But again, I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed our insane, rambling, crazy love hate relationship that we had with Stranger Things season 4. Keep your eyes open for more of these because this was fun and we should do this more often. And I want to do more stuff on the channel and get more podcasting happening. That's going to happen. Be sure to check out Z's stuff, such as Pimp Yourself.
Oh, okay. If you like true crime and the paranormal, I have a podcast that comes out every Wednesday called Ghosts and Hoes. It's HEAUXS because we're fancy. And yeah, we talk about true crime, all things paranormal, cryptids, yes. Haunted bunk beds. Oh, yeah. That was my favorite episode, I think, of all time. Yeah, so I do that, and then I am starting a new podcast as well. We're still up in the air on the name. There's no date coming yet because we've got a lot of work to do. We have recorded the first episode, which is just like an intro, but it's either going to be called Tea and Terror or, and this was just something that one of the co-hosts said while we were recording, mayonnaise-based horror.
God, nice.
Because and it's going to be a review podcast where we review horror movies and horror books and stuff like that. Whenever that comes out, I will let everybody know.
Fantastic.
And yeah, I'm working on writing some stuff. And yeah,
there's a doggo. And be sure to check out Joe Blow Entertainment Network on YouTube. I've got 3 shows on there. WTF that happened to this horror celebrity, Mysteries, which is my my supernatural paranormal show, Myths and Legends, and my fantasy film series, fantasizing about fantasy films, all 80s for the most part. We did a Harry Potter just recently, and Fangirl magazine, as well as Horror Hound magazine. I write for them as well. Check us out online. You can find us in your local bookstores. And thank you guys again. Be sure to like and subscribe on our channel. Thank you guys. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks.
Rock on, Eddie. Rock on. Forever. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.